oh, I don't have the money, so I can't do what I need to do. It's going to take me X amount of months or years or whatever to save that much money. It also trains us to be a consumer and not a creator, because we go back to what I don't have as opposed to what can I create with the resources that I have and what are the people that I can connect. It takes money to make money. That sounds great, but it's actually a trap.
Yeah, most people wait until they make money and end up not doing anything at all, which is the problem in the first place. What you need is action. So in this video, we're going to be discussing the one lie that is keeping you broke.
So let's go ahead and jump into it. It doesn't take money to make money.
Right.
How about that? Right into it in the first minute. The point is when you have a vision, I want to let everybody here know that with Wealth Nation, it's not going to take money in order to make that vision come through. What it takes is creativity. What it takes is vision. What it takes is resources. Because there's been many opportunities that Darius and I have gotten into, and we haven't put 1 cent towards a project or an investment, but we were able to bring connections or pool resources together. And there were individuals who had money that were able to fund whatever deal or projects or investments that we had going on. So I want to at least open up your minds today to let you know that it doesn't take money to make money.
Right, and to that point, you don't want to put money into something that you know that's not making money already.
Yeah.
So the whole point is the fact that you actually need a system. You need a system in place. And then even before we get there, let's talk about just the idea of being broke. What is broke? Broke is a mentality. Broke is the mentality of broken people. So when we start thinking about just the root cause of things, it's unaddressed trauma that we've experienced in our lives around this idea of making money, where we're basically, what we're doing is we're setting ourselves up, we're sabotaging ourselves.
Ooh.
So broke is a mentality of broken people that have unaddressed trauma.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. Broke is not a reflection of numbers in your bank account. It's just a reflection of where you are mentally.
Right. I was watching the CEO of Starbucks speak, and he mentioned the fact that of where he came from and how he took advantage of the American dream, or what he thought to be the American dream. So he was basically saying, like, yes, I have billions of dollars, but I worked hard for it.
Yeah.
I have set myself up to be successful. So it wasn't money that took him from where he was. It was his mentality that took him from where he was to where he is now.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because we actually have our Starbucks mug. This is not a plug, nor is there any sort of endorsement. But the funny thing, you're saying that, I was like, but again, it just goes back to the idea of creativity. Hold your mug up. Don't you be ashamed of your mug. Because look at this, guys. It says the city that we were at. I was in the Mumbai airport. I spent some time in India, and I was like, I want a stamp of India here. So I found this mug at the airport, and I was like, absolutely, I want that. But again, it's just it's a creation from the company. So what are the things that you're creating other than what I can't and shouldn't and probably won't ever do? Right? So going back to this whole ideology of it doesn't take money to make money, you have to realize if we actually believe that, what are we telling ourselves? Because what we're really doing is we're delaying any sort of decision that we're making, because we're going to be thinking like, oh, I don't have the money, so I can't do what I need to do. It's going to take me X amount of months or years or whatever to save that much money, right? The next thing is it also trains us to be a consumer and not a creator. Because we go back to what I don't have as opposed to what can I create with the resources that I have and what are the people that I can connect, right? There's no different than, think about how creative we get when we have a barbecue. We're like, oh, you bring the corn, you bring the utensils, you bring the drinks, right? We have to create that in order to facilitate a successful project. So why do we continue to think that we can't do that within our own lives when there's money at stake?
Well, the thing is comfort. What we revert back to is where we're comfortable. And lack of action is comfort. Sitting down and watching TV or Netflix is comfort. And action, or going to the gym, which takes action. Action is uncomfortable. But if we can consistently take action, then our mentality will change. Because it's not about what financial tools that you can use or what business you can do that makes you the most money. It's the mentality that you take into it and the action that you take into whatever that niche is, be it crypto, be it real estate, be it investing in the stock market. Whatever the mentality you take into that venture that you're doing, that's the results that you're going to get. Whatever you put in is what you're going to get out. And if you have this broke mentality, your unaddressed issues into that, then you're going to get those same results. Because the internet and the world works exactly the same. So in parallel, what you're going to receive is your truths. Not necessarily the truth, is your truth. And I say that because the only truths that exist are the universal laws. Outside of that is based on our experiences. So our experiences is what we're going to continuously look for because that's what we're used to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. And thinking about everything that you're bringing to the forefront is recognizing that we already have everything that we need.
Everything.
And with universal law, like you're saying, if you actually believe you already have everything that you need, you will stop being in survival mode and you will start graduating into creation or strategy mode. Because going back to the belief of that you already have everything that you need, now it's just about sitting down for a moment and recognizing what is everything that you already have.
Right.
Because I know for me, every now and then I can get stuck in I wish I did this or shoulda, coulda, woulda. But again, going back to wait, that didn't happen because it wasn't supposed to, because I already have everything that I need.
Right.
And with the idea of steps that you can take, right? So like the reality is when people are starting with projects or any sort of investment, the first thing that you have to start with is vision and the strategy, and then you create the system. Okay, so don't ever not get started because you don't think you have money. Create the vision, create the strategy, create the system, write it out, and then you start finding the right people to start filling that vision so that, again, it's not all on you.
Right. And even in the industry that we're in life insurance. Life insurance is about income protection. But if you don't have the income to protect, you shouldn't be buying life insurance because there's nothing to protect. So what we have to really do is not put the cart before the horse. And whenever we put money over everything, money is a result. Money is something that we attract.
Good point.
We attract money based on the processes and systems that we create, which doesn't cost any money. It doesn't cost any money for you to have a vision. It doesn't cost any money for you to create a system or a plan. But once that idea comes to fruition, then you start putting money into it because it's already making money. Money wants to be surrounded by friends, which is other money.
More money.
More money, right? So that's the byproduct of money is more money. The byproduct of your ideas is an attraction of wealth. So the number one lie that we really want to drill into today on this video is the fact that it does not take money to make money. You're the one that's making the money. The money just goes to the person that has the best plan.
Yeah, and a real life example, I know we've said this many times on the Wealth Nation channel, but to put this into perspective. So when we first started in the realm of real estate, Darius and I were working in corporate America and we were living check to check. We didn't have a lot of disposable income in order to invest in real estate, nor did we have a large nest egg or retirement funds that we could pull from in order to invest in real estate. But we were surrounding ourselves with these real estate investors who were managing the projects and they needed money. So they were looking at us like, hey, you guys are in corporate America. You should know people who have money. And after we thought about it, we're like, you know what? We actually do know a few people that might have some savings. Let's see if they want to invest.
Self-directed IRAs.
Yeah, or just have money
Savings,
in savings accounts, right? So we had the real estate investor who was managing the investment, and then we connected that real estate. We connected that real estate investor with what you call a private money lender, just an average person who has money. Right, in the savings account, in a self-directed account, maybe in some sort of retirement account or whatever, just that they have capital. And so we said, hey, Joe, do you want to meet Larry? And we connect the two. And then next thing you know, Joe, the private money lender, is giving money to Larry, for example, for the investment. And then we were able to get a middleman fee for connecting the two, and everybody won.
Right.
And that's how we got started in real estate. And that's how we continue to work the realm of real estate, because we recognize it doesn't take any of our money in order to connect and make things work, and also to turn a profit. So how can you be creative? How can you connect people with money, with people who have the project, and create relationships that make sense for everyone?
Right. And what we got from that experience is a paid education, because we were right there in the deal, understanding all the nuances of the paperwork that needs to go on at City Hall and how you communicate with investors. And as we continue to get that education, we started taking people out of the equation so that we can start funding the deals ourselves.
So you have to start somewhere, and always use OPM, other people's money. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just about educating yourself so that you can make sure that when you are using other people's money, first and foremost, you know what you're doing, right? You're not creating a shady environment. You have an educated understanding of the investment, of what's going on, and obviously you're setting everybody up for success. You never, never, never use somebody else's money if you don't know what you're doing,
Right.
right? Look, let's make sure that that is communicated. So in the world of this whole process is that the truth is, it takes creativity. It takes resourcefulness in order to make money. Don't ever feel like you can't move forward if you don't have $2 in your pocket, because every single time you think that you aren't going to be able to move forward, you're just going to be stuck in scarcity mode. So we are challenging you today to think about strategy. What do I already have? What can I leverage to get me closer to accomplishing the goals that I want in life?
Right. And it also takes consistency and control. And consistency comes from us going to the gym. Like, just going, the hardest part in going to the gym is opening the front door. That's the hardest weight that you're going to lift all day. But as we consistently do that over and over again, the results seem to follow. So when we create a plan, don't just create a plan just to have it look nice on your desk. Consistently work on that plan. Consistently take action. The exact same action every single day, because the action gets you closer and closer to the realization of that goal. And that plan also gives you control. It gives you control over the fact that you know exactly what you need to do. You know exactly what routine you're going to be doing for that day.
And you know what I want to throw out there? So this is something big, right? What if everything that you've been taught about money is just to keep you dependent? So when somebody says it takes money to make money, guess what? We're going to get that money from?
The bank.
Probably a bank, financial institution, whatnot. You're going to get money from them because they told you it takes money to make money, right? Come get my money so you can do whatever it is that you need to do. But no, first and foremost, get creative, because there's so many people that we run into all the time that said, hey, Darius and Carmen, I'm about to start a business. I need to get business loans. For what? What you need business loans for?
You don't have no business yet.
Yeah, exactly. Right? What value are you creating into the world? Never start a business in debt. Never start your business in debt. You always create the plan, find the resources, execute on the resources, make money again, and keep making money again. So it does not take money to make money. What does it take? Resourcefulness, creativity,
a plan,
So
and understanding your values, ownership of your values.
Oh, that's a whole nother video. I hope you all heard that. Never give up on your values, because your values are always going to be that compass, that North Star that keeps you true to everything that it is that you want to do. So never go back on your values.
Right, because as you know, you're watching this video, you're to this point, you realize that there are a ton of distractions that come your way even when you have a plan. So your values, to Carmen's point, is that North Star that is going to keep you focused on the plan and on the goal and on the reason why you're doing what you're doing. Your values do that. So as you have distractions from other people saying, oh, you're not doing the right thing, or oh, you should be doing something else, or do what I want you to do. But remember, this whole system is created for you to consume. If you're living in the United States, your goal is to consume. And a lot of times you don't even have your thoughts aren't your real thoughts. They were inserted into your mind from someplace else. So that's why you get the results that you get, is because we have to start understanding our values, our personal values, and operate in that every single day.
So let us know in the comments, what are some projects or investments that you have been involved in where it didn't take any of your own money? Let's start that dialogue. And if you are interested in learning more about creative ways to utilize your money, click on our next video.
Remember to own your own lifestyle.
Or someone else will.